Hello YouTube, Mac of Max Megas back again, and this time, like I said in the Megatron video, we are taking a look at the Transformers Siege War for Cybertron Netflix exclusive spoilers Ultra Magnus. That is a mouthful. Now, I got this because the ordinary version of Ultra Magnus wasn't available, and I like this grey across him as well. I thought it just looks pretty cool. Instead of all of this being white and all this being blue, all this being red, it just looks nice having the colours kind of broke up a bit. You see we've got the autofocus going. Is it working? Whoop. Yes. Okay. Pew. Perfect. Pew. Whoop. I'm going to have some fun with that this video. So, as you can see, he is just the ordinary Siege Ultra Magnus. Just this time he's got some different colours to him. And the spoiler alert obviously, Ultra Magnus dies in the series. Now I've not watched it, I just read that's what happens. And this is meant to be him fading to black. That's a song, isn't it? Fade to Black? Evanescence or something like that? I forget. Anyways, moving along. So he comes, as you see, he's got his weapons. You've got the missile launchers. You've got the big giant fuck off gun up here. You've got his two black blasters here as well that are on the sides. And that's really about it. The only other thing I can say for this vehicle mode is, for me, this is nostalgic. And anyone who is a Transformers fan or a fan of really any series, nostalgia is something people just eat up. Nom 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 nom. Hang on, let's fix that actually. Let's bring in a new mascot. We will call him Nostalgia Rexy. Okay, so Nostalgia Rexy over. Nay bother. So, the original design for this came from the Robots in Disguise Ultra Magnus. Now, I'm not talking about that shit show that came out after Transformers Prime with that "we can do it" attitude, because that can fuck right off into the bin. That was a horrible series. I'm talking about the 2001-2000 anime that came out using designs that were pulled from shelved designs of figures and anime characters that were then all put into a collaborated show. It's where the likes of Skybite, Nemesis Prime, and Omega Prime all got their beginnings. Omega Prime being the combined version of Optimus Prime and any other Transformer. It started with Ultra Magnus. Skybite was one of the Predacons, who is now very popular in the IDW comics. And who else did I mention there? Oh yes, Nemesis Prime. Nemesis Prime was originally Scourge. Megatron found a protoform that he was going to scan a vehicle to become a Decepticon, and instead scanned an oil tanker that Optimus Prime was trying to rescue the people inside of, and it formed into Scourge. So that's your little bit of Transformers history. The more you know. G.I. Jose. Anyways, moving right along. So he comes with all the accessories I've just shown, but he also came with this little Prime Master, whatever you call these figures. I forget what they're called. They're little weapons that turn into a Transformer. He's got these two little blaster effects on here. So we'll just untap that, untap his feet, bring these arms down and flip this bit down, which becomes a massive backpack. Like, I mean, it is nearly the same size as him. And there you go, it's a little figure. I think it's meant to be like Minimus Ambus or or something like that. I don't know. We'll put him off to the side as if he never existed. And then we also have 3 pink energon cubes that were contained inside a black smelly Play-Doh, which I got on my fingers and I hated it, and it's gone in the bin and I'm never touching it again. So let's bring Ultra Magnus back in. Come on, stay focused. Stay with me, camera. Stay with me. There we go. So we'll start with the transformation. First, we're going to want to remove the weapons. So we'll take these 2 off of the sides and set them aside. We will take this gun off of here and the missiles off of here and set them aside. And then to remove the trailer, which is a simple case of open up these doors on the sides, which tab in here and here. And then we have a tab in here connected up here, and we have this slot down here, so we just need to undo those to separate the cab. And we'll put the trailer off to the side and focus on this. So first we'll bring Magnus's arms out and we'll leave them here. Can't tab them in just yet. We'll bring the legs down on these heavy ratchets, separate, and we will flip out these little heelsies on his toesies. We'll flip this all the way around, bring the camera up so we have more room to work with. Just bring it in about here. Now this is the bit that I always find hard, is opening this, because the white paint on here has actually jammed up quite a few things. We'll flip out his head. Once we flipped out his head, we can bring that up, tap that back in, and peg his arms in. And the last thing we need to do is we need to slide this up to here, and once that tabs in, we slide this back along here. So we'll just do that until that tabs in, and there we have, oh, flip his hands around, that'd be a good thing. Here we have just Magnus in his robot mode. So Magnus is a Voyager class, roughly. No, I'd say he actually is. Let's grab a comparison. Let's see. Aha, perfect. Oh, something fell from somebody. Lots of background noise. That's what's up. And I slide back into my chair. Nice and cozy, we'll see. I have been doped up on medication. Kidney infection, never fun. So we'll bring in the Megatron again. And yeah, he is Voyager sized. Perfectly Voyager sized. So this on its own is pretty much just like the Voyager Optimus from before. So really you're getting your money's worth out of this leader class already. So we'll take Megatron off to the side. And his articulation is pretty good. His arms come out to the side very far. You have full rotation. You have rotation just below the shoulder, above the elbow. You have a little more than 90 degrees at the elbow end. Rotating wrists, and that's about it at the wrist. Rotating waist. Nicely rotating waist. Really nice ball jointed head with a really nice Optimus style head sculpt. The strong ratchets that you had before at the hips which also rotate here, although they're a little stiff, and I need to file this down a little bit because it's not perfectly smooth, and the leg keeps popping off because of that. Boo. It's the same on this side. You can actually hear it cracking there as it makes its way around that, but it functions. You have a single bend at the knee. It's not that great, but you know, it works. His feet are on rockers and no back and forth movement on them, but you do have the little heel movement. So it's subpar. It's pretty good. It's not the best posability, but it works. And he has ports all over him for connecting different weaponizers and modulators and whatever the hell onto him. Down here, down the bottom of his feet. So you could use him on his own as just a standardized figure. And he's got a variety of weapons he could use. You can use these guns, or you can use this big gun, or you can carry the missiles. Not quite perfectly up there, but hey, they work. Maybe they'd be better down on the leg. Yeah, that works better. So yeah, he's a nice figure on his own. I do like him. And any Ultra Magnus that has a figure on the inside is a win for me. So now we'll get on to his combine mode. So we'll take him off to the side first. And we'll bring the trailer back in. So we need to open these bays all the way. So we'll just open them from here to here, either side. Now we will disconnect these here and untab these bits down here. And up in here we will take these two off of here. So this one and this one. Rotate the head around on this. Flip this red panel down into here. Flip this red panel back here, up to here. And keep that just like that for now. We will open these up and leave them off to the side. These we will just separate, and we'll bring these up like this and leave them just like that. We will flip this panel into here, these two into here, flip this back, tap this in, and leave those off to the side. So again, one panel, two panel, all the panels, done. And now we'll bring Magnus back in. And we're going to need to move the camera up because he is quite big in this configuration. That should do it. So we'll get his foot and we will fold these back in. We will undo his arms so we can again go through the pain of this to put his head back in and put those back in. We are going to, now to get this forward again, I find it best to get your finger in here and use it to just push it forward so that we can slide this back down here and then just slide that back to where it was. And the last step is fold this piece down here, flip it around, and we have what will be Ultra Magnus's waist. And now we can put everything together. So we'll start with the legs. They clip from here in here, just like so, and same on the other side. And these need to be so that this slant is at the front of the arm and this is on the inside. So that is this side here, and then we just close that up. Do the exact same on this side and close it up. Bring this around to the back. These slide onto here, and once that's done, this little white tab that you can see here, which is on here, you just fold this up to tab into it, and we'll do the exact same on this side. In the last step, these two clips clip onto this grey bar here, and then you bring the head down so that these two tabs up in here clip into these two sockets here, and there you have Ultra Magnus in his robot mode. And we'll bring the camera back so we can fit him all the way in. And he looks amazing. I absolutely love this robot mode. He's really tall, he's really bulky, and he has a really defined presence. So we'll just get focus more on his head. There we are. So he's got this really nice head joint, and the articulation is much the same as before. The only hindrance really is the knee now. Well, actually, no, it's not that much of a hindrance in the knee, but even with all of this armour on him, he still has a lot of range of motion, and the feet still have that same rocker joint in them as they did before. So he looks brilliant, and you can see he's got this faded out look to him as the Netflix exclusive version. So, you know, I am a fan of that. I like it. It just looks more, well, more battle damaged. Well, I suppose dying is as battle damage as you can get, really, but he's a lot better looking than the last Ultra Magnus figure we got, who is right here. So we'll bring him over here, and we will bring him in beside him. And while he is much bigger, he's a lot more like a plaything in how he looks. He's a lot more toy-like, this Ultra Magnus, in his design. I always felt that with him. He's very hollow, very empty feeling, and especially when he's in his vehicle mode. You know, he doesn't really feel hefty. He doesn't feel like he's actually got the presence of Ultra Magnus. It just feels like a giant robot toy. Whereas this looks and feels like the character when you have it in hand. I love it. And so with his weapons, we'll bring them back in here. As the last step, Ultra Magnus of course needs his missiles on his shoulder. And for these, I like in these tabs here at the bottom to put these guns either side and give him a sort of a 3-barrel cannon. And they straighten up nicely. There we are. We'll just put that into his hand and he can hold that. Just like so. So, I think of all the figures of Ultra Magnus we've had so far, I think this is most definitely the best. I love the original colours, but I just really, really loved this one. This Netflix version. And it's really easy to get your hands on it now because I think they expected these to sell a lot faster than they did, but when people saw what was inside the box, they were kind of driven off it. But if you haven't got Ultra Magnus, definitely go for this version of him. I just think it looks so much better. It looks a lot more aesthetically pleasing than having all of this in white and blue and red, which was part of what drove me off of this figure. So yeah, I'd say if you haven't got Ultra Magnus already, pick up this one, and if you're thinking of picking up this one, if you've got the money to spare to do it, it's definitely worthwhile. So that's all for this review. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.